What's up, true believers? Welcome back to Christ and Comics. I'm Bad Gamer Elite. That is Smallgenie. And we also known as Lem and Micah, or Micah and Lem, or Lem and that guy that couldn't make it to the recording last week because he had to go and get married over the weekend, so he had the week off.
Yeah,
I'm not bitter.
got some major life changes in your life.
I'm so happy. Tell us about your
Yeah.
wife. Tell us about your wife.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've met her. Her name's Bethany Lem.
Bethany!
My best friend. We play Overwatch pretty much every night.
Oh my gosh.
Bethany actually she used to work with Lem and I back here at Life Promotions. That's actually where I met her.
I'm so
And then we just
excited.
went ahead. Yeah, we eloped last weekend, so it was a really small ceremony. It was a lot of fun. So I took the week off of work last minute, so that's why I wasn't able to record. So Lem was very generous, shuffled the schedule around, and here we are today.
Micah,
So, thanks, Lem.
Micah, when did I know? First off, I want to tell this story real quick. Or you can tell the story. When was I aware? Not when did you guys tell me, but when was I aware that you guys were an item? You were like, they're probably going to be an item.
Before we were an item. So, Lem also predicted the date we were getting married before we told him. So Lem's kind of had his pulse on things, and he's always one step ahead of us.
I love these
a little
two.
scary, but fun.
I love you two so much. You guys are two of my closest friends, and I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thanks, Lem.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of that, this kind of brings up our theme today.
Oh yeah,
which is squatting up. And the reason that we landed on that is because the holidays are coming up. You know, we're getting together with friends and family. So I would consider Bethany my squad right now. So I wanted to ask you, Lem.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you hear the phrase squat up?
I think of getting people that you know and trust together. Sometimes you don't always love those, love those people, like they're like the closest friends, but you know you can trust them.
Yeah.
Like some of the folks that I squad up with, like when we play Overwatch, Bethany knows Jared and Ben so much better than I do. But I know that they have my back in a game. Right? When we play Overwatch together, I know that they have my back. So much so that Ben and I play more together than you guys play with Ben, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that works. Like when I think of squat up, I definitely my mind jumps to video games.
Yeah.
And when I looked up the slang definition of squat up,
Yeah.
The description I found was to gather friends or allies for a fight or a challenge. So that makes me think of not only video games but comics.
Yes.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about some of our favorite superhero teams. We're going to talk about allies, famous team-ups, stuff like that.
Yes.
But first I wanted to go over a couple Bible verses that I found that kind of fit in with today's theme.
Yeah.
So the first one is from Proverbs. It's Proverbs 27:17. It says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." So jumping back to our conversation a second ago, I think Bethany makes me a better person. I think she keeps me accountable. She makes me stronger. She looks out for me. I look out for her. Same with our Overwatch team that we get together with every night.
Yes.
We make each other better, and we hold each other accountable. Iron sharpens iron. I couldn't do well as a DPS or a tank without a good support.
Oh my gosh.
You know that one more.
Yeah. I for those who don't know, I tank a lot. Like in Overwatch, I prefer tank. I'm learning DPS. I'm an okay healer. I'm definitely not the healer of the squad. I'm not the support of the squad. I'm more of the tank of the squad. And our DPS and our healers are constantly pulling me back, sometimes literally pulling me back. Whether it's in comms, Lem, step back around the corner, back around the corner, because when I'm a tank, I'm like, I need to protect my friends. And
Yeah, I
so
think every role has its place. So like I couldn't heal you if I didn't have the space to do that because you're tanking so well.
yeah.
So I think that also reminds me of a Bible verse that I found today, from First Corinthians 12:18 through 19. It says, "But now God has placed and arranged the parts in the body, each one of them, just as he willed and saw fit.
Hmm.
If they were all a single organ, where would the body be?" And that's talking about the body of Christ. Each part plays an important role in the body. If everyone
Yes.
was the same part of the body, how would the body function? If
We
everyone was
can't
a
all be a
foot,
foot.
all we would be, yeah,
Yeah.
we can't all be eyes, we can't all be hands.
Yeah.
So as we talk about Overwatch, but also in comics, and comic teams and superhero teams, I was thinking just about kind of the big two teams in comics, which is the Avengers and the Justice League,
Yes.
and how each member of those teams has their own role. So if you
Mm.
talk about, some of the big teams, some of the bigger superheroes, the classic comic lineups, you typically have somebody who's a leader, somebody people look up to. You
Yeah.
have somebody who's the brains, somebody who makes the plans, the strategy. You have the brawn, the people that just punch things.
My
You have
job is to
tech
punch
characters.
things.
Yeah. You have people, that are witty. You have people that are wise. Every
Yeah.
member brings their
The
own thing to the
agility,
table.
the agility and fighting styles, of certain characters.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because they also cover up for each other's weaknesses.
Mm.
Because a character like Superman is super, super strong, but he's weak to magic. He's weak to kryptonite,
Yeah.
whereas other characters aren't. So if you only had Superman and somebody were able to exploit Superman's weakness, then what good is Superman? So he needs his allies. He needs his friends that are able to back him up in a fight. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, um, again, knowing your role, sticking to that role, but being versatile in that role for when, let's say that if Superman is down, they're gonna need Wonder Woman to step up to be that strength for a second, right? If if Wolverine is down because and he can't go berserker mode, maybe they throw Beast in there. You know, I think that it's super important for people to know that while I'm in my role, if I need help on my role, I need to be able to give that room to somebody. I can't always be the one to do it, right?
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That actually reminds me of one more Bible verse, Len, that I found.
Oh, really?
This one's from Ecclesiastes. Yeah,
We didn't plan this at
Ecclesiastes
all,
4.
y'all. He sent me an outline. I didn't know anything.
So it's Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. It says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls down and has no one to help them up."
Mm,
Um, so again, I just think that's a really important verse. And if you're on a team, you got to make sure that nobody's the weakest link because everyone is a link in that chain. And when everyone's together, that's when they're strongest.
yes, absolutely.
So, what would you say your favorite superhero team is, Lem?
Absolutely, positively. If anybody knows it in chat, throw it up in chat. But for those that are not, and you're listening to this, you guys, my favorite superhero team. It's actually a superhero genre more now. It's X-Men. So not just the X-Men, but New Mutants, X-Force, Generation X, even X-Men 2099. Like X-Men in general. Just that whole family of mutants. X Factor. Oh, so good. So because um the whole thing about mutants is their powers are seen as negative by a lot of the world. Um but they also can help a lot of the world. So Um, absolutely, I think that it is. It's X Men for me. I know a lot about them, not necessarily most recent X Men stuff, but definitely anything through like early 2000s, like 60s to early 2000s.
Yeah. Does that include the TV show too, Lynn?
Yeah. Oh, come on, bro.
Just thought
Yes.
I'd ask.
Yes. They and like
Uh,
in that show, I'm just gonna put a little bit of trivia out there. Um, they had Morph, who in that show, who they didn't really. They had him in the comics. He died real early. Spoilers for something over 40 years ago. He died real early, but they did bring the character back in the Age of Apocalypse timeline, and then back in Exiles. Oh, Exiles! I love the comic Exiles.
yeah. So what is it that kind of draws you to the X-Men? I know you mentioned a little bit like their powers.
Yeah.
Is that what makes you so
Well,
into the X-Men?
the dynamic of Charles Xavier and Magneto has always been uh, uh, how do I want to say compared to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Both people are fighting for the rights of an oppressed people, and one takes a more, they say, history says, or the books say, a more aggressive stance to it than another, according to the books. Now, uh, my favorite part about X Men is it grew to be more than just this race thing, and more of, you have these different abilities. You are different than I am, and I can either use my abilities for something great or something evil, right?
Mhm.
And you can choose to see my abilities as something great or something evil, and we can work together to make sure that it's great. Um, and I just loved that. I loved that me as being a neurodivergent. Um,
Mhm.
I can. They always say, ADHD is a superpower. Well, how can I
Yep.
use my superpower? And we found a way to do that actually for these podcasts, because it was all right. I do well in the moment, but planning stuff is not my strong suit. However, Micah is a thinker, y'all, and a planner. And so we decided, all right, let's let's see what happens when we let someone else take some time to plan and just put Lemon on the spot. Uh, when we do music and the message, it's a little different because Balmer's a neurodivergent too. So we are both trying to plan and both trying to on the spot. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think we bring out the best in each other, Lem, when we work together. Like
yeah,
you said, I think we're stronger as a team because you have all that creative capacity that I don't have. So that helps me a lot. And I think it's interesting because, like, talking about the X-Men, like you said, there's different paths that the X-Men can go down. They can go down Charles Xavier's path, they can go down Magneto's path. I think it's important, to kind of surround yourself with a good squad and make
mm-hmm.
sure that the people around you, have your back and that they're making you better. Because I think you can surround yourself with people that drag you down and make you worse,
Yes,
and you kind of make poor decisions. So I think it's important, that we focus on that too, because, just having a squad is good, but you need to make sure it's the right squad that you're surrounding yourself with.
and people that hold you accountable to, like, not staying up till midnight playing Overwatch.
Yeah, I think you might need to find a new squad then, Len. Um, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about superhero team ups. Um, Not just superhero team ups, but just like team ups in comics in general.
Yeah.
Comics is a really fun medium because you can kind of cross over all sorts of different genres.
Mm,
Way before Fortnite was doing it, comics were
yes.
doing it.
Yes.
So I wanted to look up some of the most unexpected, weird team ups in comic book history.
Okay.
So I wrote down a few. This is courtesy of Screen Rant.
Oh, we love
So,
Screen Rant.
so some of these are pretty interesting. I had no idea they were even in comics or there are comics about these characters. So the first one I found was Charles Barkley versus Godzilla. So that happened. Uh, Superman teamed up with Muhammad Ali
Yes, I remember
and
that
Bugs
one.
Bunny. Okay, good. Superman also teamed up with the Nesquik Bunny at some point. I don't know if that was just a quick tie-in or what the
Oh, that
context
was
was, but I thought that was interesting.
yes. Yeah, they did. They had a lot of in comics. They used to have a lot of little ads, and they would pair up the character of the comic with the ad person or mascot. Yes.
Yeah, I remember like when I got cereal boxes, they'd come with like Justice League comics, and every once in a while they'd team up with like the superhero or the cereal mascot, which was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, So we all know about Batman's crossovers. Batman's teamed up with Scooby Doo. He's teamed up with Sherlock Holmes. He's teamed up with John Cena. He's teamed up with the Beatles. That one I didn't know about.
I did not know he
Uh,
teamed up with John Cena.
yeah, so I think that was in a movie. So technically not a comic, but I had
Okay.
to
All right. Comic.
care.
Yeah.
Um, the X-Men teamed up with Star Trek in a comic.
Yes, I have that one.
Remember that?
Yeah, I
Okay,
have that one.
nice.
It's really
Um,
good.
Yeah, I'll have to read that one because that one out of all of these seems the most interesting because I
Yeah.
don't know what that would look like. And then the last couple I found were The Punisher and Archie, and The Punisher and Eminem.
I
And
remember the
apparently
Punisher
Eminem
and
defeats.
Archie.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember. Yes, I totally remember that.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you have any favorite, like any that I didn't mention here?
well, weird ones, not necessarily, um, but I do enjoy. Spider-Man has a whole series of Marvel team up. Like that's an old Spider-Man comics series of Marvel team up, and he's teamed up with a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Marvel. They had
Yep.
when they had the unlimited, not unlimited, ultimate. When they had the Ultimate Universe, where Miles Morales came from, Spider-Man teamed up with the X-Men, and he's teamed up with the X-Men before. But
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites in cartoons was Spider-Man teams up with the X-Men because his team was Spider-Man and his amazing friends, which were Firestar and Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's teamed up with the Hulk, Captain America, Wolverine, um, and I don't know if you can call it a team up per se, but we'll call it a crossover. There was Marvel and DC when they did the
Yeah, was it
amalgams.
Amalgam? Yep.
Yeah. So you had kind of the mashup slash team ups, which was really nice because in one of the things, one of the panels or whatever, one of the pages for sure, they talked about how their people were fighting each other, but they also talked about how uh, there were people that were getting like teaming up with each other. So like you would have a panel of Namor and Aquaman together. I think they had a panel of I don't remember who. Oh, Thanos and not Apocalypse. Thanos and uh,
Darkseid?
Darkseid. Yeah, they had them together, which was really good. Um, Paul actually in chat actually mentioned Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which
Yeah,
is
I feel like that one was pretty
yeah,
recent.
that one's what the show was the show was recent, but I think they actually did that in the comics in the past. And I think we talked about this before, where um, Batman and Superman have crossed over with folks outside, not necessarily teamed up with, but crossed over with people outside of their universe, which then brought them into the universe. So Predator and Batman, and then Superman and Aliens.
Mhm.
I don't know of any Terminator teaming up with anybody, but that's a possibility too.
I mean, technically, I mentioned it earlier, but Fortnite did have comics.
Oh, that's true.
So technically, can we talk about Fortnite here?
Yeah, we can.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely. You have Fortnite with Marvel, which would bring in the comics, brought in Black Widow, I believe, um, Captain America for sure, Spider Man for sure, Wolverine for sure, um, Thor in one aspect of it, but that's not just in game. I'm talking about in the comics. Then you also had Catwoman. You had Batman, Harley Quinn, um, in that DC crossover with Fortnite.
yeah, yeah. I think Fortnite feels pretty endless.
Yeah,
They're still announcing collabs and finding people to put into the games and comics.
yeah,
So definitely keeps us on our
yeah.
toes
I'm
here.
I'm trying to stick to just the comics because if we went into the game itself,
Yeah, we'll save that one for the God Games and Geekery stuff.
oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh
yeah,
man.
we could do a whole episode on that if we wanted to.
Well, I mean, if Lucas keeps dragging his feet, we might just have to do a God and Games show there.
I'm down. Um,
put
so
it
the
in put
last
it
thing
in
I
your
wanted to
calendar,
talk
Alex.
about, last thing I wanted to talk about here, Lem, is just kind of biblical team ups and what that looks like, biblical squads. So the number one squad that came to mind was Jesus and the disciples.
Yes.
I think he kind of encapsulates everything that we talked about a squad today.
Yeah.
He surrounded himself with, 12 people. There were a lot of people that followed Jesus, but these 12 were the core people.
Yeah.
And basically everyone else left when stuff got hard and difficult. And when they didn't like what Jesus was saying, they liked what he said on the surface, but they didn't want to follow him the way the disciples did.
Yeah.
So I just, I think, as we see that, they bickered, they fought, they had their flaws, but I think ultimately most of them, not counting Judas, made each other better. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that shows, Jesus really wanted to surround himself with some close friends. And I think that's really important. Can you think of any other biblical team ups, Lem?
Well, first off, Adam and Eve.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good team up. I
it
mean,
is the first ever team.
that was God being like Professor X and be like, I need to put together a team to do stuff on this earth. Okay, got it. Boom. Right?
Oh yeah, he told them what they needed to do, and they did it.
Yeah.
So.
Um, I would also take a look at David and oh my gosh, starts with a J. Help me out.
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yes, David and Jonathan. Those boys were
Yeah,
tight.
yeah, they were.
Right? Now, again, team ups, not necessarily all heroes, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Delilah and the what's the group? What's the group? Help me out. Help me out.
Was it the
Yeah,
Philistines?
no, nope, not the Philistines.
Okay.
What was it? Maybe it was. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, my brain. It's a bad brain day today. I actually had a message from one of our colleagues here in the office today,
Uh-huh.
and they asked me questions about how to do something in text. I read the text 8 times and could not figure it out. I called them. I said, "Call me. I'm having a bad brain day." They called me immediately. I had the answer.
Yeah, so I did just look it up, Lem. It does say that the rulers of the Philistines went to her and
Okay.
they got her to lure Samson into
Okay.
showing the
Good.
secret of his strength.
Good. All
So
right.
that is a good team up, a good example of a team up, I should say, not a
Yeah.
good team up.
Yeah. Example of
Um,
a team up.
but it shows the negative sides of teaming up, and
Yeah.
Samson didn't really surround himself with someone he could trust, so that didn't work out well for him
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely. Okay. Another team up. Joseph's brothers.
Hmm. Yep.
They were like, "Look, we got to do a thing." And then the eldest said, "Look, we can't kill him. We can't. They wanted to, but people don't realize is, yeah, they think, oh, yeah, they're going to throw him into the pit and sell him. The brothers originally wanted to do a death.
Mhm.
They wanted to do a death on their brother. And the elders was like,
Yeah.
nah, hold on. So he was the strategist, the brains. And in that, I firmly believe that God spoke to him in his heart and said, look, don't do this, because God knew what was coming. Spoilers, read the thing, but Joseph saves his family.
Yep. Yeah. That's a really interesting story. We should definitely do a week just on that
Yeah.
because we could deep dive into that for
Ooh,
sure.
we could do like what ifs.
Yes.
Oh yes, deep dive. What ifs? Yeah, those are the ones that I'm thinking of as far as that goes.
Nice. So we could go into other things. We could talk about sidekicks, but I know we're running out of time here. So
Yeah.
I did just want to go over that verse again. Iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. I just think, surround yourself with people, surround yourself with good people. So you don't surround yourself with Delilahs. You
Yeah.
don't surround yourself with people that are going to stab you in the back. The Bible says bad company corrupts good character. Make sure you're finding those people that make you better. Make sure you're finding those people that help you get closer in your walk with God, that make you a better person. So I think, just dwell on that. We'll think about that. As we go into the holidays, I know not everyone, has the best relationships with their family. Not everyone has, tons of friends. So just keep looking for, that squad, keep looking for the people that make you better here.
Yeah, you can join our Discord. You guys follow, share the podcast, write a whole dissertation on, or 3 lines on, what you like, what we could do better, all that good stuff. Comment. If we happen to put this on YouTube, like and subscribe. All do all the things. And I do want to just correct you just a little bit. According to our faith and film study, it's hero support, not sidekick.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, well, Micah, thank you. This was so much fun. I love putting this together. I love just hanging out with this. This was a great time. We got to do it again. We're doing it again. We're doing it again, people.
Yeah, I'll see you next month here, Len.
Yeah, we'll see you next month. All right, so remember, Jesus loves you. So do I. So does this guy. And always, always leave people better than you found them.